30 days of freestyling. Over 250 hours of just training mechanics and going for shots. Did it help? Did I hit any shots? And should you do it? Today, we're going to go over my last 30 days and explain the process of doing nothing but freestyling for an entire month. To begin with, in the first few days, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what I wanted to work on specifically. I could do a bunch of shots that were kind of meh, single resets were consistent on good days, air dribbles were alright, breezies and musty flicks were fine. I knew how to do each of them, but as far as consistency goes, I knew I had some stuff to work on. So in the early days, I really worked on just getting the basics right. This meant hours and hours in free play while I wasn't streaming, just going over the setup for a single flip reset. This also meant doing things like workshop maps and running a whole lot of casual matches. The early days were fun. Everything I was going for was something I could see immediate progress in. If I spent a few hours working on flip resets, I'd be hitting flip resets pretty consistently later that day on stream. This training resulting in immediate results was obviously very nice to see. But this isn't always the case. You can't just start training something and then later that day nail it every time. The only real reason this was working for me was because I'd put in a lot of time into training these mechanics in the past. And so these hours I'd spent training them in the early days acted as more of a reminder to what I could already do. I was not starting fresh. This is something to definitely keep in mind when it comes to some of the later days of this challenge. After a few days of basic training, we put together a few freestyle 1v1 matches against some of the best freestylers in the game. I was never going to beat them, but they helped me to see not only what was possible at the highest level, but also to figure out which kind of styles I liked. I'll show you the clips of these matches so you can kind of see the difference in our skill level. The moon flick, the reset. Yep. The second he's in that position on the backboard, it's over. Here. You just know he's like comfy. And it's like, yep, I'm mine. What do I do against this dude? Look where he's starting his freestyle from. Oh, thank God. I thought he'd lost it here. Because he's too far out. And so I went to just like, take it to the side. And no. He, apparently he had that. I got the pity goal. Oh, nice shot at me. Aww. Man, I hate it here. Thanks, man. Almost got the triple. 1, 2. One, two. Oh my God, the control. Ha! 1, 2. Yeah, okay. 1, 2, 3. Jeez. Like 1, 2. Alright, look, we go for a flip reset musty. No, Hank! Brother Hank, safe. Yeah, only a matter of time. And flick. What? After these matches, I set my eyes on 2 shots I wanted to learn. I wanted to get way more consistent with my double flip resets, And I wanted to get better at the ceiling musty double touch.
Nice.
Now, you might recall around this time that I did a coaching session with Thanovic, which really helped me to sort out my musty flicks in general. But the double resets were a whole different beast. I used to be somewhat consistent at them, but after not going for them for so long, it felt as if I had lost all the muscle memory and had no clue what I was doing. So from around day 6 to day 15, these were the two shots I was going for. And I hit them. Every day I got better and better. I had fully dedicated my time on and off stream to learning these shots, and by the end of the first 15 days, I had put in 142 hours or just over 9.5 hours a day into just freestyling. I was getting better. It was from this point onwards that I stopped going for specific shots and just played the game, going for whatever I wanted and whatever came up.
That was actually clean.
We were 20 days in, and everything had been going really well. I tried team freestyling with some of the other Pulse members. I was comfortable going for a select few shots that I could fall back on if I needed to. My double resets were going well. I had hit some sidewall shots in training that I'd never even attempted before. Everything was looking really good for the last 10 days. Until all of a sudden, it wasn't. I'd got to a point where I was trying to do some things and they just weren't working out. The instant results I saw from training old habits had set me up with an expectation that I could pick up newer mechanics and pull them off easily, but obviously I couldn't. And it tilted me. It really got to me. I went a few days just feeling like I couldn't hit a single shot. I would try to default back to single resets, and even then it was like I was starting back at step 1 all over again. You combine that with 1,000 viewers expecting you to become some sort of freestyle god at this point, and the whole thing just felt very deflating. Freestyling was starting to be more of a chore than a fun challenge. Not being able to really do anything I was happy with or hit any shot that I would consider good, I fell back into old habits, messing up the basics and forgetting about the important steps for things like setups and proper positioning for the shots. It wasn't until about 8 days later, day 28 out of 30, that I felt I was out of this weird slump. And that came because of one thing. One night on stream, one of the Pulse's competitive freestylers, Pulse Mesco, stopped by and we had a 1v1 match. I was trying to go for anything to get on the board and end up hitting a double reset.
Thank you.
Which he then followed up by hitting a quad reset on me.
One, 2, 3, 4. So, double reset's still cool, right, guys?
And then another quad reset on me.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I was blown away. I'd seen people hit quad resets before, I'd seen Mesco do it before, but just hitting 2 quad resets back to back was wild for me. Mesco had really put time into learning and improving his mechanics to the point where this was just another day for him. And above all that, it was something like 8 AM for him and he hadn't slept. So I had to ask. I asked Mesco how he had trained his mechanics, whether it was just free play and hours of training, or if he had used some certain training pack or workshop map to help him along the way. And he had. He recommended I use this one training pack that he said he had put at least 1,000 hours into alone. And so, taking that advice, I got to work immediately. And it wasn't just the training pack or the fact that it did the entire setup for me. Those two things definitely helped. But I think there's something about training every day for 28 days, only to get back-to-back quad reset on by some dude who's been awake for over 24 hours that makes you really just want to work harder and get better. And so I did. And moments after jumping into this pack on stream with Mesco and everyone else watching, I started feeling like it was all coming back again. Double resets, resets into musty double touches, ceiling musty double touches, and then for only the second time in my life, a triple reset. It was a strangely good feeling. Like, a lot of people on YouTube see this channel and myself as somewhere to go when you need help or tutorials. But after this triple reset, it felt nice having felt myself progress as a player and seeing the stream kind of being hyped up that I hit a shot that I hadn't before. And even if it was completely lucky, because I'm not saying I was going for it by any means, it was just a really cool moment at the end of this journey that we all kind of sat there and went, huh, I actually learned something. And then 30 minutes later, I hit another one. Over the last 2 days, I had spent a lot of time in the training pack and ended up hitting quite a few shots that I actually really enjoyed. And even though I hadn't come out of this being able to compete with the top freestylers in Pulse, that was never the plan. I had come out of this much better and so much more comfortable in the air heading back into ranked. I was comfortable going for flip resets for the first time in ranked and actually scoring a decent amount of them. My general car control was 10 times better than it was to begin with, and my movement was a lot smoother. While my positioning and general shooting did take a bit of a hit for the first few days back into ranked, due to me not having played ranked or working on them for an entire month, they were easy to pick up again, and now with the added bonus of being a threat while in the air. The 30 days were a success. So, the big 3 questions. Did it help me? 100% yes. I am much more confident on the ball in the air now. I feel like I can go for some of the freestyle type of shots and use them effectively instead of going for them for the sake of showing off. My scoring percentage from these kind of shots skyrocketed, and now I feel just a lot better when I have to go up for an aerial. I have more variety, and because of this, I can remain unpredictable. Did I hit any shots? Yes, this was inevitable. If I went the entire 30 days without hitting a single shot, I would have seriously questioned not only my abilities and my rank, but every video I've made in the past. While it might have been a slower start, we picked up around the middle and by the end came out with some pretty cool shots by my standards.
Oh my.
Lastly, should you do it? Absolutely not. Well, you should if you enjoy pain. This challenge was fun for a bit, but playing casual 1s and 2s for 30 days straight can take its toll. You end up going against worse players, and the games can feel very long and boring when you aren't performing well. And yes, you can try it in ranked, but when you're learning to freestyle, it's gonna tank your MMR pretty low if you miss 9 out of 10 shots. And that can be pretty tilting by itself. I wish I could say I recommend this because I did see insane progress, but I honestly cannot sit here and say you should do this unless you have the patience of a saint or you give yourself some off days where you forget about freestyling. It can be very draining to spend day after day feeling like you aren't getting anywhere. And the only reason I carried on a few of those days was because I'm a content creator and I try and do what's best for the content and for the video. So, don't do this, or do it, but with not as strict a schedule. It will literally wear you down and make you question your mechanics that you thought you knew how to do very easily, and that's a pretty tough slump to come back from. Overall though, looking back, I'm very glad I did it and I'm very glad I stuck with it, as it has helped me massively with my aerial game. I just want to say a big thank you to all of the freestylers that stopped by my stream and joined me in the 1v1 matches. You guys were the driving force behind all of this, and watching over the replays helped me a lot when it came to breaking down the setups for some shots. To the people that came by my stream each and every day, staying very supportive even when I was tilting, thanks team, you know who you are, love you all. If you want to join in on those live streams and become part of the community, we would absolutely love to have you. Just head over to twitch.tv/Thanovic and let me know that you came from this video. It would be cool to see who sticks around to the very end. Anyway, with all said and done, I lastly want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.